There was once a village that lived by many rules. Some rules were ordinary, but one rule was feared by everyone. No one should go near the forbidden well. The elders said the well was cursed. They said people who drank from it never returned the same. Some said they died. Others said they changed into something unrecognizable. Because of that, no one dared to test the warnings. But in that same village lived a girl named Ayanda. She had no family left. Her father had died in the wars. Her mother had died from illness. Ayanda was poor. Most days she went without food. She lived in silence, surviving on little. The people of the village pitied her, but no one truly helped her. Some whispered that she carried a strange bloodline. Some believed her family had angered the ancestors. Others ignored her completely. One evening, Ayanda lay weak from hunger. The little food she had was gone. Her throat was dry. She thought of the river, but it had dried up because of the long season without rain. The only water she could think of was in the forbidden well. She remembered the warnings, but warnings did not fill her stomach. She could not bear the pain anymore. So late at night, while the village slept, Ayanda walked out quietly. The path to the forest was dark. Each step was heavy, but she did not stop. She pushed through the tall grass, moving toward the place everyone avoided. Soon she stood before the old stone well. She looked inside. The water shimmered faintly. Her hands shook as she leaned closer. Fear filled her chest, but thirst was stronger than fear. She cupped her hands, dipped them into the cold water, and drank. The first drop stung her lips. The second drop burned her throat. By the third, her body gave way and she fell to her knees. Then it happened. Her mouth opened, but the voice that came out was not hers. It was heavy, commanding, and old. The voice said only 2 words, "I have returned." Ayanda collapsed to the ground. She did not know it, but her life and the life of the entire village had just changed forever. Ayanda woke up the next morning on the ground beside the well. Her head was heavy, her body weak. She thought maybe it was only a dream. But the strange feeling in her chest told her otherwise. She remembered the voice. She remembered the words. She slowly walked back to the village. Her clothes were dirty, her feet wounded, but she did not stop until she reached her hut. She stayed silent that day, afraid to tell anyone what happened. But the village was already buzzing with whispers. People claimed they heard a strange cry in the forest the night before. Some said they saw lights flashing among the trees. Others said the spirits had returned. By midday, Ayanda's body began to change. Her voice trembled when she spoke, and sometimes without warning. Her mouth said words she did not understand. The children stared at her. The elders frowned. Fear spread quickly. That evening, she went to the riverbank to fetch water. But when she bent down, her reflection in the water was not hers. It was the face of another woman, older, royal, and dressed like a queen. Ayanda screamed and dropped the pot. The water carried her scream across the fields. The villagers came running. They asked what had happened. Ayanda tried to speak, but the strange voice came again from her mouth. This time everyone heard it. The voice said, "You buried me, but I rise again." The villagers fell silent. Some ran away. Some dropped to their knees. The oldest among them recognized the voice. They said it was the voice of Queen Nandira, a powerful ruler who had died years ago. The queen had been respected and feared. Her death was surrounded by mystery. No one spoke of it openly, but everyone remembered her. And now, her voice was coming from Ayanda's body. From that day, Ayanda could no longer hide. Wherever she went, people followed her with questions. Some called her chosen. Some called her cursed. Some wanted to protect her. Others wanted to drive her out. The council of elders gathered. They argued late into the night. Some said she should be killed before the curse spread. Others said she must be kept alive, for she might hold the spirit of their queen. Meanwhile, Ayanda grew weaker. Every time the voice came, her body shook and her eyes rolled back. It was as if her own life was being drained away. She begged for help, but no one knew how to stop it. One night, she dreamed of the well. She saw herself standing before it, but she was not alone. Behind her stood shadows of people she could not recognize. They whispered in her ears. They told her that the truth of the queen's death had been buried, and Ayanda was chosen to reveal it. When she woke, she was sweating. She knew this was no dream. It was a warning. The next day, the council forced her to appear before the village. A crowd gathered. The elders asked her to speak. Ayanda tried, but the queen's voice spoke instead. "I was betrayed," the voice said. The ones who killed me are still among you." The crowd gasped. People looked at one another in fear. The elders grew nervous. This was the beginning of division. Some villagers believed the spirit was telling the truth. Others believed Ayanda was possessed by demons. Fights broke out in the marketplace. Families turned against one another. Day after day, Ayanda's power grew. She would touch an object and see visions of the past. She would look at someone and know their secrets. She began revealing things no one else knew. A farmer hiding stolen grain, a man lying about his wife, a hunter keeping food from the poor. The people feared her more and more, but they could not deny her power. The elders knew this could destroy them. They had secrets too, secrets about the queen's death. If Ayanda truly carried the queen's spirit, those secrets would soon be revealed. The oldest elder, Mbeki, stood and said, "We cannot let this continue. She must be taken back to the well." The spirit entered her there. Only there can it be removed, the others agreed. But Ayanda had also heard the whispers in her dreams. She knew the well was not only the source of power, it was the place where the truth had been buried, and if she returned to it, the village would never be the same again. Ayanda could no longer live as an ordinary girl. Everywhere she walked, people stared. Some whispered that she was chosen by the ancestors. Others whispered that she carried a curse that would bring destruction. The village was no longer united. One part of the village began to follow her. They brought her food and water. They called her the voice of the queen. They believed she was a gift. But another part of the village feared her. They said she was possessed and that she would bring only death. The council of elders watched this division closely. They knew the danger was growing. If Ayanda continued, their secrets would be exposed. For the truth was this: Queen Nandira had not died a natural death. She had been betrayed, and some of the same elders still ruling the village had been part of it. Every day Ayanda's body changed. Her voice would shift from her own to the queen's without warning. Sometimes when she closed her eyes, she saw visions. She saw the queen sitting in a throne. She saw a meeting of elders plotting in secret. She saw a dagger dipped in poison. And she saw the queen collapsing, betrayed by the very men she trusted. These visions came suddenly, leaving her weak and trembling. But she could not ignore them. One afternoon during a village gathering, Ayanda spoke with the queen's voice before everyone. "You killed me," the voice said, pointing at the circle of elders. "You hid my death, but truth cannot stay buried forever." The crowd gasped. Some of the elders shook their heads, denying it. Others lowered their eyes in fear. The villagers began shouting. Some demanded that the elders explain. Others demanded Ayanda be silenced. That night, chaos filled the village. Men argued in the streets. Women cried out in fear. Young warriors sharpened their spears, unsure whom to follow. Meanwhile, Ayanda hid in her hut. She was afraid. She did not want to carry this burden. She wanted only to survive. But each night the queen's spirit grew stronger inside her, pushing her closer to the truth. The elders held a secret meeting. They agreed that Ayanda must be taken back to the Forbidden Well. Some wanted her to be killed there. Others believed the spirit would leave her if she touched the water again. Elder Mbeki, the oldest of them all, warned that if Ayanda revealed the whole truth, the people would turn against the council forever. So they made a plan. At dawn, warriors would take her by force and lead her to the well. But the plan did not remain secret. Some villagers loyal to Ayanda discovered it. They rushed to her hut and warned her. "They will take you back to the well," they said. "You must decide, fight or flee." Ayanda sat in silence. She was torn between fear and destiny. She did not ask for this, but she felt the queen's voice growing louder inside her. The next morning, as the warriors approached, Ayanda stepped out of her hut. She did not run. She did not fight. She raised her hands and said, "If the truth lies in the well, then take me there." The warriors tied her hands and led her away. Behind them, half the village followed, chanting her name, believing she was chosen. The other half followed too, spitting curses and demanding her death. The path to the Forbidden Well was long and heavy with silence. Only the sound of drums in the distance carried through the trees. The people knew something great was about to happen. When they reached the clearing, the well stood before them, dark and silent. The air was thick. No bird sang. No wind blew. The elders stepped forward. They ordered Ayanda to be brought near the well, her eyes fixed on it. and she felt the same chill she had felt the night she first drank from it. The crowd circled. Torches lit the night. The warriors held her tightly. The oldest elder, Mbeki, raised his staff and said, "Spirit, if you are truly here, return to where you belong. Leave this girl and release our people." But before Ayanda could speak, the queen's voice thundered out of her mouth, "You fear me because you betrayed me. And here before the people I will reveal all." The crowd erupted. Some cheered. Some screamed. The elders trembled. The ground beneath the well began to shake. The water inside bubbled as if boiling. The torches flickered wildly. A storm gathered above the trees. The queen's voice grew stronger inside Ayanda, louder than before. Her eyes turned white. Her hands shook as if lightning passed through them. The villagers fell to their knees. Some shouted for mercy. Others shouted for her to stop. The elders tried to silence her, but it was too late. The spirit had taken full control. One by one, Ayanda began naming the elders who had betrayed the queen years ago. The people gasped as she spoke their names. The guilty ones tried to deny it, but the queen's voice revealed details only they would know. The crowd turned furious. They shouted at the elders. Spears were raised. Chaos spread through the clearing. The well bubbled harder, and a dark wind rushed from its depths, blowing across the people. The queen's spirit had awakened the place, and no one could control it now. The moment had come when truth, lies, fear, and power all collided. The village would never return to peace until the well revealed its final secret. The air grew heavier with every heartbeat. The child with the strange mark had thrown the village into fear, but that was only the beginning. That night, the Council of Elders ordered everyone to stay inside their homes. No fires, no singing, no talking outside, only silence. But silence could not hold back the storm that was coming. Rain clouds gathered above the village, and the wind howled as if it carried voices from the past. At the center of the village stood Ayanda, the woman who had carried the secret. The secret was this. When Ayanda first arrived at the edge of the village, she carried nothing but silence and fear. The people thought she was hiding shame, but what she hid was much deeper. The last piece of a man they had sworn to forget. His name was Kato. Years before, Kato had been one of their own, strong, loyal, respected. But when he uncovered the elders' secret dealings, their betrayal of nearby villages for power and wealth, they turned on him. They accused him of treason and banished him beyond the hills. No one ever saw him again, until Ayanda met him. He never told her everything, only that he had been wronged by those he once trusted. He said that if anything ever happened to him, she must protect what he left behind. And months later, when Kato never returned, Ayanda discovered she was carrying his child. She lived in hiding, afraid that those who destroyed him would come for her too. For 9 months, she carried the child in silence, knowing its birth would reveal everything the elders tried to bury. The child was born with a mark on his shoulder, the same mark Kato had carried from birth, a mark that the elders knew too well. That was why she hid. That was why she feared. And that was why, when she finally stepped into the village that day, she knew the truth she carried would either set them free or destroy them all. She was weak, her body trembling from exhaustion, but she refused to let go of the child. 2 guards stood near her, waiting for orders from the chief. The chief raised his hand. "Take her to the old well." Gasps broke from the people. The old well was not a place of safety. It was where punishments were decided, where secrets had been buried long ago. Ayanda's voice was faint, but steady. "You will not silence me. Not again. The truth is already out." The guards dragged her toward the well. The storm cracked open above them. Lightning flashed across the sky, lighting every fearful face in the crowd. As they reached the well, Ayanda collapsed to her knees. She clutched the child to her chest, gasping for breath. The people murmured, afraid she might die right there. The chief spoke again, louder now. "This woman has broken the law of silence. She has brought back what we swore never to speak of. Tonight the well will take her, as it once took the one we cast out before her." Ayanda's eyes widened. "So it's true. You did not just banish him. You killed him here." The words hit the crowd like fire. The elders looked at each other in shock, realizing their secret was slipping free. One of the younger men shouted, "Is it true? Did you murder him at this very well?" The chief's face turned red. His staff struck the ground. "Quiet! None of you understand what was at stake. But the people no longer looked convinced. Ayanda struggled to her feet, her body swaying. She raised the child high. This is the blood of the man you betrayed. You can bury me, but you cannot bury him again. His mark is alive. His truth is here. The storm broke into heavy rain. Thunder rolled like drums of war. Suddenly a voice came from within the crowd. It was Elder Nathi, the oldest of them all. His voice cracked, but it carried over the storm. It is true. The crowd froze. Every head turned toward him. Elder Nathi dropped his staff and fell to his knees. His face was wet with rain and tears. We swore never to speak, but the guilt has never left me. We did not only banish him, we ended him here at this well. And now his blood has returned. The people erupted in shouts, anger, betrayal, disbelief. Ayanda's knees buckled. The child slipped from her arms for a moment, but a young woman rushed forward to catch it. Ayanda was pale, gasping, fighting for her life. "Water," she whispered. "Please, water." But the well was dry. The storm raged harder, as if the sky itself knew the truth had finally broken free. The chief's voice cracked under the weight of fear. "Enough, she will not destroy us. We will end this child as we ended the father." The people gasped. Some cried out in protest. Others backed away in horror. The young woman holding the child shouted, "No, you will not harm him." And she ran into the crowd, disappearing before the guards could stop her. The village dissolved into chaos. The storm flooded the ground. Thunder shook the earth, and at the center, Ayanda fell, her body limp, her breath fading. The people screamed her name, but she could not rise. The climax had come. The truth was out. The elder's crime was revealed. Ayanda was slipping between life and death. And the child, the mark of the man they betrayed, was now in the hands of the people. The storm at the well had changed everything. The storm finally began to slow. The rain fell softer, though thunder still rumbled in the distance. But inside the village, the storm was far from over. Ayanda lay weak on the ground near the old well. Her chest rose and fell slowly, as if every breath was a battle. The people gathered around her, torn between fear and guilt. The young woman who had run off with the child returned. She held the child close, shielding it from the cold rain. When the villagers saw the mark on the baby's shoulder glowing faintly in the torchlight, a hush fell over everyone. The chief stood tall, but his face was pale. His hand shook on his staff. He had ruled with fear for many years, but now the people's eyes were different. They no longer looked to him for guidance. They looked to Ayanda, even as she lay struggling to breathe. Elder Nathi's voice broke the silence. "We killed his father out of fear. We thought removing him would save us, but it only cursed us. We buried truth, and truth has returned." Another elder tried to protest, but the crowd shouted him down. The village had finally heard enough of silence and lies. A young warrior stepped forward. His voice was strong. "If we destroy this child, we destroy ourselves. We cannot make the same mistake twice." The chief's eyes burned with anger. "And what will you do instead? Let the past destroy you? Let this child grow and take revenge?" But the young warrior did not flinch. "It is not revenge that destroys a people, it is fear. And fear has ruled us too long." The people murmured in agreement. Mothers nodded. Fathers clenched their fists. Children watched wide-eyed, sensing history shifting in front of them. Ayanda coughed, struggling to speak. With great effort, she whispered, "This child does not come with hate. He comes with truth. Whether you accept him or not will decide who you become." Her words cut through the air. For a moment, even the rain seemed to pause. The crowd turned to the chief. His power was slipping. He knew it. His eyes darted from face to face, but no one looked at him with loyalty anymore. The chief raised his staff, desperate. "If you stand with her, you stand against me." But this time, not a single person stepped back. One by one, the villagers moved closer to Ayanda and the child. The young woman holding the baby stepped into the center and lifted him high. "This is not the end of us. This is our new beginning. We will not bury truth again." The people shouted in agreement. Voices rose, stronger than thunder. The chief's hand trembled. His staff slipped from his fingers and hit the ground. He looked around, realizing he was alone. His rule was broken. He stumbled back, his face filled with fear, and without another word, he fled into the darkness. The elders and the chief who killed Cato and the queen were exposed before the entire village. Their lies, their crimes, and their greed were no longer hidden. The people stripped them of their titles, destroyed their symbols of power, and forced them to live as ordinary laborers. The chief, unable to face the shame, fled into the wilderness and was never seen again. The remaining elders spent the rest of their lives serving those they once ruled, building homes, fetching water, and repairing the same well where they had buried their sins. None of them died with peace. They lived long enough to see the truth they tried to kill become stronger than them. The storm faded at last. The night grew still. The people turned their eyes to Ayanda. She lay weak but alive. The women lifted her gently, carrying her away from the well. The young warrior walked beside them, his hand on the shoulder of the young woman who held the child. Elder Nathi spoke the final words. "Let this child grow. Let him remind us of the price of lies and the power of truth. From this night forward, we will never bury our wrongs again. We will face them no matter how heavy they are." The villagers agreed. They swore never to repeat the mistake of the past. As dawn came, the storm clouds broke apart, and light returned to the village. The well that had once been a place of death and silence now stood as a symbol of truth revealed. Ayanda recovered slowly, surrounded by the people who once doubted her. And the child grew, watched closely, not with fear, but with hope. The village would never forget what happened that night. The lies of the elders, the courage of one woman, and the birth of a truth that no storm could ever wash away.